Well, I don't care how dark it looks. I don't care how deep you've fallen. How many times they've counted you out. If you've got hope, you still got a chance. Not a chance. You hear me? I said if you got hope, even just a mustard seed of it, you got something the enemy can't kill. You got something stronger than fear, stronger than failure, stronger than every no you've ever heard. Hope is the beginning of everything. It's what keeps the lights on in your soul when everything around you feels like darkness. Some of you are walking through hell right now. Life hit you with a blow you didn't see coming. Maybe you lost someone. Maybe your business failed. Maybe your dream feels miles away and you're thinking about quitting. But I need you to hear me loud and clear. Don't you ever give up on hope. Because hope is what will carry you when your strength can't. Hope is what will whisper one more day. Hope is the seed that turns into breakthrough, but you gotta hold on to it. Hope ain't weak. Don't let people fool you. Hope isn't just some emotional fluff. Hope is a weapon. Hope is defiance. Hope is standing in the fire and saying, this will not consume me. Hope is waking up broke and still chasing the dream. Hope is hearing no after no and still believing a yes. It's not about where you are. It's about what you believe is possible. And I'm not telling you to hope blindly. I'm telling you to hope with purpose, hope with vision, hope with action. Don't just sit around waiting for life to change. Let your hope drive your hustle. Let your hope spark your grind. Let your hope fuel your fire. Because as long as there's breath in your lungs, there's a chance. As long as you got life in your body, it's not over. The enemy wants you to forget that. Life wants to numb you, bury you, break you. But hope says, not today. Hope says, I'm still here. Hope says, I don't care what I've been through. I'm still gonna win. So I need you to get up. I need you to believe again. I need you to trust the process. It might not happen today. It might not happen this year. But if you stay hopeful, if you stay locked in, if you keep believing even when it doesn't make sense, breakthrough is coming. Victory is coming. That door will open. But only if you don't quit. So no matter how low you feel, hold on to hope. Because the best chapters of your life haven't even been written yet. Hope is not weakness, it's power. That statement alone can shift your entire perspective if you really let it sink in. Because the world has conditioned us to believe. That's showing emotion, believing in something better. Holding on when everything's falling apart. That somehow makes you soft, makes you naive, makes you unrealistic. But let me tell you something real. Hope is not for the weak. Hope is for the warrior. Hope is for the person who's seen the worst and still chooses to expect the best. Hope is for the one who has every reason to quit, but says, I'm not done yet. See, hope isn't some fragile feeling that blows away when the wind picks up. It's not some fluffy idea to make you feel good for 5 minutes. Hope is a force, a power that moves in silence, a fire that burns low but steady. It's that quiet voice at 2 a.m. when you're tired, stressed, and broken, whispering, keep going. Hope doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't need to be loud to be strong. It shows up when everything else has failed. It's what keeps your feet moving when your mind is telling you to stop. Weakness is giving in to the lie that things will never get better. Weakness is letting your circumstances define your worth. Weakness is folding under pressure, not standing with hope. Real strength is choosing hope when there's no evidence it'll work out. Real strength is showing up to the fight, knowing you might lose today, but believing you'll win eventually. That kind of strength, the strength that chooses belief in the middle of the storm, that's rare. That's power. You ever seen someone go through absolute hell and still smile? That's not denial. That's hope. That's power. That's someone who understands that their circumstances don't have the final word. Someone who refuses to give their power away to what they can't control. Hope says, you can strip away everything I have, but you can't take what I believe. Hope gives you the courage to keep building when the foundation is shaky. It gives you the courage to love again after heartbreak, to try again after failure, to rise again after falling. When life gets dark, and it will, hope is the light you carry within you. You can't always control the storm, but you can carry your own light. And some of you need to realize you've been walking around with that light all along. You just forgot how powerful it is. You got hit by life and you let it dim you. You got betrayed, you got rejected, you failed. You failed. And now you walk like you've already lost. But deep down, there's still a spark. There's still something inside you that wants to believe. And I'm here to tell you, that's your power. That's your hope calling you back to life. You see, the world respects toughness. The world praises the grind, the hustle, the resilience, and that's good. But what fuels that resilience? What keeps the grind going when the reward is nowhere in sight? What drives you when there's no applause, no recognition, and no results? Hope. Hope is what keeps the dream alive when everything says it's dead. It's what keeps you training in the dark. It's what keeps you studying when no one's watching. It's what keeps you sacrificing when you're not even sure if it'll pay off. Hope is power because it gives you vision beyond your current situation. It helps you see something that isn't visible yet. That's real power, being able to see what doesn't exist yet and walk toward it like it's already yours. When everybody else is focused on what is, hope is focused on what can be. And that gap between what is and what can be, that's where champions are made. That's where leaders rise. That's where legacy is built. Hope teaches you patience. Hope teaches you endurance. Hope teaches you to believe beyond your feelings. Because feelings lie. Feelings are temporary. You might feel tired, but hope tells you there's more in the tank. You might feel lost, but hope reminds you there's still a path. You might feel like giving up, but hope says, just one more try. That's power. That's unmatched strength. That's what makes hope unshakable. And you don't need anyone to give it to you. That's the beauty of hope. It's self-generated. No one can manufacture it for you. No one can force it on you. And no one can take it from you. You choose it. You protect it. You feed it. And it grows. That's why people who live with hope become unstoppable. Because they don't rely on things going right in order to keep going. Their belief isn't based on comfort. Their strength isn't based on outcomes. It's rooted in faith. It's anchored in something deeper than what they see. I know some of you are going through battles right now that nobody else understands. I know you're tired. I know you've been praying, working, pushing, and it still feels like nothing's moving. But listen to me. Don't let go of your hope. That hope is what separates you from the quitters. That hope is what keeps you in the game. Even if you're crawling, even if you're limping, if you got hope, you're still in it. You're still dangerous. Because as long as you believe it can happen, it can. Don't mistake silence for defeat. Don't mistake delay for denial. Sometimes hope works quietly in the background, building you up, shaping your character, making you ready for the next level. You think nothing is happening, but something is. You're growing. You're maturing. You're becoming. And one day, everything you hoped for, everything you fought for, everything you cried for, it will show up. And when it does, you'll realize the waiting wasn't wasted. The pain wasn't pointless. The hope wasn't empty. It was your power the whole time. So stop looking at hope like it's something solved. It's the hardest thing you'll ever hold on to. It's what keeps you alive when everything around you is dying. It's what keeps you strong when everything around you is falling apart. That's not weakness. That's not fantasy. That's not emotion. That's power. Real power is hope. And if you still got it, you're still in control. You're still on your path. You're still becoming what you were created to be. So breathe, stand tall, and keep believing. Because hope, real hope, never loses. Hope must lead to action. That's the truth most people miss. See, it's easy to talk about hope like it's just some emotional, feel-good feeling you carry around in your heart. But hope without action is just a fantasy. Just a dream with no legs. It's a wish. And let me tell you something, wishes don't build legacy. Wishes don't pay bills. Wishes don't change your situation. You can't just sit around, close your eyes, and hope your way to a better life. You gotta move. You gotta act. You gotta act. You gotta put in the work. Real hope is not passive. It's aggressive. It's intentional. It's got grit. It says, I believe something better is coming, and I'm gonna meet it halfway. It doesn't sit back waiting on a miracle to fall out the sky. No, it gets up early. It stays up late. It puts in the hours. It studies. It trains. It grinds. Because it knows that action is what activates the breakthrough. Hope is the spark, but action is the fire. And too many people are living this fake version of hope. They say they want it, but they're not moving toward it. They say they believe in something better, but they're not building anything different. They're waiting on the world to change, waiting on the opportunity, waiting on someone to save them. But the truth is, nobody's coming. You got to save yourself. You got to take that hope in your heart and turn it into steps, turn it into routines, turn it into effort. You got dreams. You got goals. You got this vision in your head of what your life could be. That's good. That's the beginning. But the question is, what are you doing about it? What habits are you forming? What sacrifices are you making? What discomfort are you willing to endure there? Because if you're not acting, then your hope is just talk. And talk doesn't move mountains. Action does. Hope is not meant to keep you comfortable. It's meant to keep you moving. It's not about just feeling better about your situation. It's about doing something that changes the situation. When you say, I hope things get better, you need to follow it up with, here's what I'm doing today to make it better. That's where power lives, in the space between belief and behavior. That's where transformation begins. Every successful person you see, they didn't just have hope. They turned their hope into hustle. They took their faith and put feet to it. They didn't just dream about being great. They made decisions daily to be great. They didn't just visualize a future. They worked like it was already theirs. Because they understood that belief without action is empty. It looks good on paper, but it doesn't produce results. You want your life to change? Start moving. You want to see progress? Stop talking and start doing. Let your hope become fuel for your behavior. When you wake up in the morning, remind yourself why you started, and then act like it matters. Go hard. Stay focused. Be consistent. Because hope without action will have you stuck in the same place a year from now, still wishing, still waiting, still wondering why nothing changed. Hope is supposed to push you into motion. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable with staying where you are. If your hope isn't making you move, then it's not real. Real hope stirs something in you. It wakes you up. It makes you say, I can't keep living like this. I know there's more in me. You can't delay any longer, but that means being honest with yourself. That means looking at your life and asking, am I really doing everything I can to live the life I believe is possible? And if the answer is no, it's time to shift. It's time to stop waiting for perfect conditions. There will never be a perfect time. There will always be an excuse to wait. But the people who win in life, they start where they are with what they have. They move scared. They move tired. They move even when they're not sure how it will all work out. Because hope in motion is power. Hope that's backed by sweat is unstoppable. Hope that wakes up every day and grinds like his life depends on it. That's the kind of hope. That's the kind of hope that changes everything. That's how legacies are built. Not with empty promises or pretty words, but with gritty action that refuses to stop. And don't let fear hold you back. A lot of people stay stuck because they confuse hope with comfort. They think hope is supposed to make everything feel good. But real hope will stretch you. It will take you out of your comfort zone. It'll challenge your routines. It'll disrupt your life because growth is uncomfortable. Success is uncomfortable. Becoming who you're meant to be is uncomfortable. But hope gives you the strength to endure that discomfort. It says, I believe in the outcome enough to go through the process. Let your hope create pressure in your life. The right kind of pressure. The pressure that keeps you focused, that keeps you hungry, that keeps you from settling for less than your potential. Every time you feel tired, let your hope remind you why you started. Every time you feel discouraged, let your hope remind you that progress takes time. Every time you feel like quitting, let your hope remind you that you're closer than you think. This isn't just about motivation. It's about commitment. It's about waking up and doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. That's what separates the hopeful from the help. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. You can't be both. At some point, you got to choose. You got to say, I believe in something greater, and I'm going to work like it's already mine. Hope must lead to action, or it's just a fantasy. It has to show up in your discipline, your decisions, your daily grind. Otherwise, you're just lying to yourself. You're talking about change, but doing nothing different. You're hoping for results without putting in the work. And life doesn't reward hope alone. It rewards hope that is backed by work. Consistent, relentless, focused work. So what's your move? What's the next step? What are you going to do today? Not tomorrow, not next week, to bring your hope to life. Write it down. Commit to it. Take the step, and then another. Stack small wins, build momentum. Stack small wins, build momentum. Because the life you're hoping for, but only if you're willing to act like it is. Hope is power, but hope alone is not enough. If you want to change your life, change your behavior. Let your hope drive you. Let it push you. Let it guide you. But most importantly, let it move you. Because only then will you experience the breakthrough you've been praying for. Only then will your life match your vision. And only then will you understand what real hope looks like. It looks like work. It looks like sweat. It looks like daily action fueled by unwavering belief. That's the kind of hope that changes everything. Hope defies your current reality. That's the truth right there. It doesn't ignore it. It doesn't pretend the pain isn't there. It doesn't deny the struggle, the setback, the diagnosis, the failure, the betrayal, but it rises above it. Hope is what tells you that where you are right now is not where your story ends. It's not fake. It's not fake. It's not fantasy. It's not fluff. It's the bold decision to believe that your circumstances don't have the final say. It's looking your current situation in the eye and saying, you're real, but you don't define me. See, hope is not rooted in where you are. It's rooted in where you're going. It's not about the facts. It's about the future. It doesn't wait for everything to look perfect before it activates. It stands up in the middle of the storm and says, I still believe. That's what makes hope so dangerous to fear, to failure, to doubt, because it refuses to bow to what is. It sees what could be and moves toward that, no matter how broken the present looks. Let me be clear. Your current reality may be painful. You might be broke right now. You might be broken right now. You might feel lost, confused, abandoned. Maybe your dream is on life support. Maybe you failed over and over and people around you are saying, just give up already. Hold on, we're not done yet. Hope whispers, this is not the whole picture. Hope reminds you that every masterpiece starts with a mess, that the caterpillar looks like it's dying before it becomes a butterfly, that the seed is buried in darkness before it grows into something beautiful. When you're walking through something hard, your mind will try to trap you in the now. It'll say, this is how it's always going to be. It'll convince you that what you see is all there is. And that's when you got to fight back with hope. That's when you got to say, no, I may be in it, but I'm not of it. I may be struggling, but I'm not stuck. I may be hurting, but I'm healing too. Because hope isn't blind, it's bold. It's wide open belief that a better day is possible, and I'm going to keep showing up until I see it. Hope is the engine behind endurance. It's what keeps you walking when the road is long and hard and lonely. It's what fuels a fighter who gets knocked down and still rises. It's what keeps the student studying after failing 3 exams. It's what keeps the entrepreneur grinding after 10 rejection. It's what holds the brokenhearted together long enough to love again. It sees the pain, but it doesn't stop in it. It presses forward because there's something ahead that's worth reaching for. The most powerful people in the world aren't the ones who never struggled. They're the ones who kept their hope alive through it. The ones who lost everything but refused to let go of that small flicker inside. The ones who were told you're done in answer to watch me. The ones who lived in poverty but dreamed of building empires. The ones who buried loved ones and still built legacies. That's the power of hope. It lifts you out of the mud mentally before you ever climb physically. It gives your heart permission to believe in a future that your eyes can't see yet. And listen, you don't need everything to make sense to hold on to hope. You don't need all the answers. You don't need a full recovery, a full bank account, or a full understanding of the process. All you need is the decision to believe that this isn't where it ends, that there is still more for you, that you can still rise, that your current condition is not your permanent conclusion. That's how people rebuild after devastation. That's how survivors become leaders. That's how victims become victors. It's not because the pain was less. It's because the hope was more. It's because somewhere deep inside they refused to settle. They refused to let the trauma have the last word. They refused to let the detour destroy the destination. They lived in reality, but they were led by vision. And that vision came from hope. Hope will have you planning a future while living in a crisis. It'll have you preparing for promotion while still stuck in the hallway. That's what people won't understand. They'll say, why are you still trying? Why haven't you given up? Don't you see the odds are against you? But they don't realize you're not walking by sight. You're walking by hope. And hope can carry you farther than sight ever could. Hope is spiritual. It's emotional. It's mental. And it's practical. It influences how you talk, how you walk, how you think, how you show up. A hopeful person speaks differently, moves differently, hangs around different people, takes different risks. They're not reckless, they're rooted. Rooted in something beyond the pain, beyond the statistics, beyond the logic. They're not just hoping for something, they're hoping towards something. And that direction creates momentum. If you want to transform your life, you have to challenge your mindset. You got to stop telling yourself, this is it. You got to stop letting your environment define your expectations. You got to stop repeating the narrative that was passed down to you by people who stopped hoping a long time ago. Hope defies all of that. It disrupts the cycle. It says, I know what they said. I know what I've seen, but I believe in something more. And that belief opens doors that fear could never unlock. Even science backs this up. Hopeful people heal faster, solve problems better, and handle stress more effectively. Why? Because they expect that something better is possible. And that expectation shapes how they respond. It keeps them proactive, positive, persistent. Hope strengthens the immune system. It lowers anxiety. It increases resilience. Hope literally changes the brain. It's not soft. It's strategic. It's your edge. And in a world that's constantly shouting, you can't, hope quietly replies, yes, I can. Let me ask you, what would change in your life if you stopped accepting your current reality as the final chapter? What would you start building? Who would you become? How would you show up differently if you believe that something greater was still on the way? That's the challenge. To let your vision be louder than your environment. To let your belief be stronger than your barriers. To let your hope rise higher than your hurt. Because your story is still being written. And you get to choose the tone of the next chapter. You can let bitterness write it. Or you can let hope write it. You can let fear lead you. Or you can let hope guide you. You can settle or you can soar. The difference is hope. You have everything you need inside you right now to rise. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need ideal condition. You just need to believe that your current reality is not your final destination. You just need to believe that your future is bigger than your past. You just need to believe that your life still has meaning, no matter how broken it feels right now. And when you choose that kind of hope, the gritty, grounded, powerful kind of hope, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. You stop reacting to life and you start creating it. You stop surviving and you start living. You stop waiting and you start building. So today, decide that your current reality is not your ceiling. It's just the floor. It's just the setup. It's just the foundation. You are not finished. You are just getting started. Let that be your truth. Let that be your fire. Let that be your hope. Because real hope doesn't just sit in the dark waiting for the sun. It learns to shine anyway. Hope is your inner strength when you got nothing left. When your energy is drained. When your body is tired. When your mind is exhausted and your heart is broken, hope is what keeps you standing. It doesn't always feel loud. It's not always exciting. Sometimes it's the smallest, quietest voice inside you that says, don't quit. That whisper, that flicker, that's hope. And it's more powerful than you can imagine. There will be times in life when everything feels like it's falling apart. Times when the people you trusted walk away, when the plans you made collapse, when your best still isn't enough. In those moments, strength doesn't come from physical power. It doesn't come from your circumstances. It doesn't even come from success. It comes from within. It comes from that unexplainable part of you that still believes something better is ahead. That's hope. You see, real strength isn't proven when life is easy. Real strength shows up when life is heavy. When your shoulders are shaking from the weight. When you feel like you're standing in a storm with no umbrella. What keeps you from falling isn't motivation. It's hope. Motivation might start the engine, but it's hope that keeps the wheels turning when the road gets rough. It's the root system beneath the surface. The part of you that doesn't get shaken when everything above ground is being blown away. Hope is the only thing left sometimes. There are days when you won't have answers. Days when the tears won't stop. Days when the losses outweigh the wins. And in those days, you won't have much. But if you still got hope, you still got everything. Because hope is what tells you to take one more step, to try one more time, to breathe one more breath, to breathe one more breath. And those small decisions, that's how breakthroughs are born. Some people think hope is weak. They think it's naive. But that's because they've never had to rely on it to survive. Hope isn't weakness. It's the strongest thing you'll ever hold. because it doesn't require evidence. It doesn't need confirmation. It moves in faith. It walks when there's no path. It holds you up when everything else lets you down. That's power. That's resilience. That's what separates those who rise from those who quit. And the truth is, life doesn't always give you what you deserve. Sometimes you'll be doing everything right and still face setbacks. You'll love deeply and still get hurt. You'll work hard and still lose the job. You'll sacrifice and still get overlooked. It doesn't make sense. It's not fair, but it's real. And when life hits like that, you'll need something deeper than logic. You'll need something stronger than feelings. That's where hope lives. Hope doesn't guarantee that things will be easy. It doesn't promise instant results. What it promises is endurance, the ability to keep going when you don't have the strength to go, the ability to keep believing when nothing is changing, the ability to keep showing up when everything in you wants to hide. Hope becomes your fuel when you're running on empty. You may not be the fastest, you may not be the smartest, you may not be the most gifted, but if you have hope, you can outlast people who have more than you. Hope makes the difference. It turns pain into power. It takes rejection and turns it into redirection. It sees delay as development because hope doesn't give up in the dark. It prepares for the light. Think about the people who inspire you the most, the ones whose stories shake you. They weren't handed perfect lives. They weren't born into ease. Most of them had to fight, to struggle, to endure. They had to push through seasons of loneliness, defeat, doubt, and despair. What got them through wasn't just strength of body, it was strength of spirit. Hope was their anchor. They made it because even when everything looked like it was over, they chose to believe that it wasn't. You might be in that place right now, worn out, tired of trying, ready to let go. But listen, if you still have hope, even a little, don't stop. That tiny bit of belief is your superpower. It's what separates survivors from quitters. It's what creates miracles out of messes. It's what allows you to look at the ashes and still imagine beauty. There will be moments when no one claps for you, when no one encourages you, when no one checks in. In those moments, you'll have to be your own cheerleader. You'll have to pull string from a place deeper than pain. You'll have to say to yourself, I've come too far to give up now. And that voice, that decision, that's hope talking. Hope gives you the courage to keep building even when you're broken. Love again, even after heartbreak. But trust again after betrayal. To start again after failure. And that kind of courage isn't common. That's rare. That's the kind of courage that builds legacy. Because it's not rooted in perfection, it's rooted in perseverance. The beauty of hope is that it grows in hard places. It doesn't need perfect conditions. In fact, it thrives in the struggle. Hope is forged in fire and becomes stronger through the storms. And that's why you can't give up, because the very thing you're going through is shaping the strength you'll need to reach the next level. The pain is part of the preparation. The waiting is part of the process. Hope helps you endure it with purpose. And don't be fooled. Hope is not just about big dreams. It shows up in small ways too. It's the decision to smile when you feel like crying. It's the moment you get out of bed after a restless night. It's the strength to speak life when everything feels dead. Those small moments matter. They add up. They shape who you're becoming. Hope doesn't mean you never feel weak. It means you keep showing up even when you do. It means your spirit is stronger than your circumstances. It means you trust in something beyond what you see. That's not denial. It's defiance. It's resistance. It's faith. It's power. And sometimes hope looks like resting, like not giving up on yourself, like taking care of your mind, your soul, your heart. It's not always pushing harder. Sometimes it's choosing not to give in to the darkness. Sometimes it's saying, I'll try again tomorrow. That's strength too. That's grace. That's hope. You are allowed to feel tired. You are allowed to feel discouraged, but you are not allowed to give up on yourself. Not if there's still breath in your lungs. Not if your heart is still beating. Because as long as you're alive, your story isn't finished. There's still more. And hope is the reminder that the last chapter has not yet been written. When the people around you don't get it, when they can't see the vision, when they say you should give up, hope says, keep going. When life is unfair, when the bills pile up, when the diagnosis hits, hope says, oh, you're stronger than you think. When everything seems to fall apart, hope says, if this isn't the end, so let hope be your strength. Not because everything is perfect, not because you never fall, but because you refuse to stay down. You refuse to stop believing. You refuse to let fear have the final word. That's what makes you powerful. That's what makes you resilient. That's what makes you unstoppable. Because when all else fails, when you're worn out, when you've cried every tear, if you still got hope, even the size of a mustard seed, you still got something to fight with. And that's enough. That's more than enough. So rise again, even if it's slow, even if it's shaky, even if it hurts. Rise with hope in your heart, because that's where your true strength lives. Hope builds resilience, and resilience is what will carry you through the battles that threaten to break you. Life is not easy. It never has been, and it never will be. It's not supposed to be. Growth doesn't come from comfort. Strength isn't built in safety. Character isn't shaped by perfection. Life tests us, shapes us, and pushes us to the edge. Not to break us, but to awaken the strength that's been inside us the whole time. And the bridge between your pain and your power is hope. Hope isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Without hope, the mind crumbles. Without hope, the spirit weakens. Without hope, there is no reason to stand up when life knocks you down. But when you have it, when you have even the tiniest spark of hope, it becomes your armor. It becomes your reason. It becomes the voice inside you that says, keep fighting, keep going, keep believing. That's what resilience is made of. You see, resilience isn't just about being tough. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about falling 7 times and getting up 8. It's about feeling pain but choosing progress. It's about facing fear and choosing to walk through it anyway. But you can't do that without hope. Hope gives you the vision to see past the moment. Hope allows you to look beyond the problem and believe in a possibility. It's the fuel that makes resilience possible. Everyone wants to be strong, but no one wants to go through the pressure that creates strength. You don't build resilience in the calm. You build it in the storm. You build it when the odds are against you, when you're tired and drained and the world says it's over. But you still show up. You still move. You still believe. That's resilience, and that's what hope does. It trains your soul to keep going when logic tells you to quit. Hope is what makes you emotionally durable. It's what keeps your heart soft in a hard world. Some people walk through disappointment and become bitter. Some people experience rejection and never love again. Some people go through loss and never dream again. But hope protects you from that. Hope says, I've been hurt, but I still believe. Hope says, I've been knocked down, but I still rise. That's not weakness. That's next level strength. And the amazing thing is you don't have to be born with it. Resilience can be built. Hope can be chosen. Every time you refuse to give in to despair, every time you take one more step when you don't feel like it, you're building resilience. You're training your mind to push past pain. You're shaping a mindset that refuses to settle. That kind of resilience doesn't just help you survive life. It helps you conquer it. It's easy to talk about resilience when life is good. It's easy to say it, keep going when everything's going your way. But what happens when nothing is going right? What happens when your world falls apart? That's when real resilience shows up, not in your strength, but in your decision. Your decision to stay in the fight. Your decision to believe that even though today is hard, tomorrow could be better. That decision is powered by hope. Resilience doesn't make you immune to pain. It makes you bigger than it. You still cry. You still feel. You still struggle, but you don't let those things define you. You don't let them stop you. Hope helps you process pain without being imprisoned by it. It allows you to walk through the fire and come out stronger. Not because the fire didn't hurt, but because you learned how to stand in it. Because you discovered that what's inside you is greater than what's around you. When life hits you, the question isn't a will it hurt? It's how will you respond? Will you let the pain define your future? Or will you let hope shape your comeback? Because every comeback story starts with a person who chose hope over hopelessness. A person who said, I don't know how this ends, while I refuse to give up in the middle. That choice is everything. And let's be real, it's not always easy to choose hope, especially when you've been disappointed, especially when things didn't work out the way you planned. But you have to understand, disappointment is not the end of the story. It's part of the journey. And if you allow it, hope can grow even in disappointment. Resilience is built when you keep hoping even after heartbreak, when you keep dreaming even after failure, When you keep building even after things fall apart, hope keeps you rooted. It gives you something to hold on to when everything else is shaky. Think of a tree in a storm. The wind blows, the rain pours, but the roots hold it steady. Hope is your root. It anchors you. It reminds you of who you are and where you're going, even when the world tries to distract you with doubt. That's why you could be going through chaos on the outside and still be calm on the inside, because your hope is strong. Hope doesn't just help you, it inspires others. When people see you walking through fire and still smiling, still standing, still serving, that gives them strength. Your resilience becomes a testimony, your perseverance becomes a message. You become living proof that pain doesn't have to win. That setbacks don't have to define you, that there's a way through the darkness. That's leadership, that's legacy. Think about it, every great leader, every powerful voice, every world changer, at some point they were broken. At some point they were tested, but they didn't let that moment define them. They let it refine them. And what gave them the strength to do that? They believed there was something on the other side worth fighting for, and that belief kept them in the game. It's the same for you. You're going to face storm. You're going to get tired. But every time you choose hope, you're getting stronger. Every time you bounce back, you're building something that can't be shaken. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, resilience becomes part of who you are. It becomes your response to every challenge. I'm still here. I'm not done. I've got more in me. And that's the truth. You do. You've got more in you than you realize. You've got strength you haven't tapped into yet. You've got wisdom that's being shaped by your struggle. You've got purpose that's being revealed through your pain. But you'll only see it if you don't quit, if you keep hoping, if you keep rising. So don't let the setbacks fool you. Don't let the bad days trick you into thinking your journey is over. It's not. It's just beginning. And the fact that you survived what you have, the fact that you're still here, means there's more ahead. More growth, more purpose, more strength. But you won't get there without resilience. And you won't build resilience without hope. Hope is the foundation. It's the beginning of the comeback. It's the light in the tunnel, the strength in the struggle, the fire in your soul. Protect it, speak it, and most importantly, act on it. Let your hope turn into action. Let your hope shape your mindset. Let your hope keep you in the fight long enough to win. Because in the end, it's not the strongest who win, it's the ones who refuse to give up. The ones who rise again and again. The ones who keep hoping even when it hurts. The ones who know that storms don't last forever. That pressure creates diamonds. That the pain you're in now might just be preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. That's what resilience is all about. That's what hope makes possible. In the end, hope is not just a word. It's your lifeline, your strength, your resilience, your power. It's what carries you when everything else fades. It's not a fantasy or a soft feeling. It's the fire inside you that refuses to be extinguished. It's the voice in your soul that says, you've come too far to quit now. Hope is what separates those who keep rising from those who stay down. It's what turns pain into purpose, setbacks into comebacks, and wounds into wisdom. Resilience is not about never breaking. It's about refusing to stay broken. And that refusal is powered by hope. So when the world turns cold, when people walk away, when plans fall apart and life doesn't make sense, let your hope rise. Let it stand tall, not in the absence of fear, but in the face of it. Because as long as there is breath in your body and fire in your spirit, your story isn't over. You are still becoming. You are still growing. You are still being shaped for something greater. And every time you choose hope, even if it's just a flicker, you reclaim your strength, your direction, and your future. So hold tight to hope. Build your resilience with it. Let it be the reason you wake up, the reason you keep going, the reason you never let life defeat you. Because in the end, those who never stop hoping are the ones who change everything, starting with themselves.